In this video, we are going to understand some of the questions based on traditional approach. We will try to understand why this particular question is from traditional project management life cycle or traditional approach, and how can we recognize whether it is a traditional project scenario or adaptive approach scenario or some other scenario. So we are going to discuss a bunch of questions, and we will also try to solve those questions, and we will understand why a particular option is right and why not the others. So this is going to help you have more clarity and better idea about how to choose or how to apply the elimination technique to reach to the right answer. So this would also be one of the best practice which can be followed when you are attempting the exam questions. So the first question is, you are managing an event management project involving many stakeholders present at various locations. Your project sponsor is concerned about the highly influencing stakeholders as they need timely information from your project. Which of the following document helps you to know the level of influence of the stakeholders? So it is given that in your project there are n number of stakeholders, and there might be some high influencing stakeholders who might be needing some information from your project. So you might have to prioritize their needs, and you might have to meet the needs of all the important stakeholders of the project. So now here the question says, which of the following document helps you to know the level of influence of the stakeholders? So we try to capture the stakeholders information, we try to record the stakeholders information in some project document, and we try to refer that document throughout the project life cycle so as to understand the needs and expectations of the stakeholders, their level of influence, their level of interest, and different other details. So here the choices are stakeholder engagement plan. Stakeholder engagement plan, it consists of the information about how to engage with stakeholders, what is the current level of engagement and what is the desired level of engagement, and what all strategies can be applied for engaging with stakeholders effectively. So this document might not consist of the level of influence of each and every stakeholder who is identified in your project. The next option is stakeholder register. This might be the right choice. Stakeholder register is the document which consists of the stakeholder name, the title, the role, the level of influence, the level of interest, whether the stakeholder is internal or external, what are the needs of the stakeholder. So these all possible details are present in stakeholder register, which will consist of all the information about the stakeholders. So this might consist of the level of influence, but from exam questions attempting perspective, you are going to read all the choices. You are not going to just settle for option B. Also read option C and D and then decide whether option B is good. So option C says communication management plan. Communication management plan would consist of the strategies and the different details on how we are going to communicate with different stakeholders. For example, how frequently we are going to share the information, in which format we are going to share the information, and using which technology we are going to communicate with the stakeholder, and many different other details from communications management perspective. And this might not consist of level of influence of stakeholder. The next option is stakeholder engagement assessment matrix. Stakeholder engagement assessment matrix is not a document, but it is a technique which can be applied to assess the engagement level of the stakeholder, which will help us to understand what is the current level of engagement and what is the desired level of engagement of the stakeholder. So this might not be the right choice. So the right choice would be stakeholder register. So let us check the answer. So this is the right choice because all the stakeholders information including their level of influence will be present in stakeholder register. So this is how we are going to reach to the right option. And this scenario also indicates the traditional project scenario, because they have not mentioned any kind of agile practices. It is not mentioned, the different roles are not mentioned, and they are talking about the traditional project artifacts that we maintain from stakeholder engagement perspective.